I heard them laughing before Vanessa even put me on speaker. It was Friday night, October 14th, around 10:30, and I was standing in the kitchen of my son's house in Portland, the house I'd helped him buy back in 2015 with a $22,000 down payment I'd scraped together from selling my late husband's truck. The kitchen was dark except for the light over the stove. I'd turned off the overhead fluorescent because it buzzed and made my head hurt. The phone sat on the counter between me and the refrigerator, Vanessa's voice coming through tinny and bright. "Maggie, can you hear me?" "I can hear you," I said, more laughter in the background. Voices I recognized. Daniel, my son. Tyler, my 16-year-old grandson. Emma, 13, and Vanessa's sister Claire, who I'd met exactly twice and didn't like either time. "So we're still at Morton's," Vanessa said. Her voice had that sing-songy quality it gets when she's had wine. "And oh my God, Maggie, you should see this place. The steaks are like butter. Tyler got the ribeye. It was $48, can you believe that? And Emma ordered lobster tail." I looked at the Tupperware containers stacked in the refrigerator. Leftover chicken thighs, half a pot of rice, some roasted carrots that were starting to look soft. "That sounds nice," I said. "It is nice." Vanessa's voice sharpened a little. "Anyway, I'm calling because we're going to be out late. There's leftovers in the fridge. Just heat them up for dinner. And Maggie?" I waited. "Make some bone soup, okay? I bought those beef bones at Costco last week. They're in the bottom drawer. Don't waste anything. We can have the soup tomorrow." I stared at the phone. Behind Vanessa's voice, I heard Daniel say something I couldn't make out, and then Tyler laughed. Loud. The kind of laugh that's mean even when it's not aimed at you. "Okay," I said. "Great. We'll be home by midnight probably. Maybe later. Don't wait up." She hung up before I could answer. I stood there for a long time, looking at the phone. Then I opened the refrigerator and pulled out the Tupperware with the chicken thighs. I heated them in the microwave for 2 minutes, ate standing at the counter, and didn't taste a single bite. Here's what I didn't tell Vanessa. I knew about the dinner 3 weeks ago. I'd been in the laundry room, folding towels, when I heard Daniel and Vanessa talking in the kitchen. They didn't know I was there. The laundry room is right off the kitchen, but the door was mostly closed, and they weren't being quiet. "So it's confirmed?" Daniel said. "The money's in the account?" $120,000, Vanessa said. "Can you believe it? Aunt Patrice just left it to me. I thought she hated me." "What do you want to do with it?" "I want to take everyone out. Somewhere really nice. Like a celebration." There was a pause. I stopped folding and listened. "Everyone?" Daniel said. "You, me, the kids, Claire, maybe your mom?" "Maybe." "I don't know, Daniel. She'll just complain about the prices. You know how she is." I waited for Daniel to say something, to defend me. He didn't. "Yeah," he said finally. "You're probably right." I went back to folding towels. My hands shook so bad I had to redo the same towel 3 times. They made the reservation for 6 people. I know because 2 days before the dinner, I found the confirmation email in the trash on Daniel's laptop. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for a recipe I'd emailed him last month, chicken paprikash, his favorite when he was a kid. And I saw the email in the deleted folder. Morton's Steakhouse, party of 6, October 14th, 7:00 p.m. 6 people. Daniel, Vanessa, Tyler, Emma, Claire, and Claire's husband. Not me. I printed the email. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted proof that I wasn't imagining things. I folded it into a small square and put it in the back pocket of my jeans, and I carried it around for 2 days like a stone. The night of the dinner, Vanessa came into the kitchen around 6:30. I was peeling potatoes at the sink. She was wearing a black dress I hadn't seen before, probably new, and her hair was curled. "We're heading out soon," she said. "Okay. There's leftovers if you get hungry." "Okay." She stood there for a minute, watching me. I kept peeling. "You feeling all right, Maggie? You seem quiet." I looked at her. She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. I'm fine, I said. Good. She turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and if Daniel asks, we invited you, but you said you weren't feeling well, okay? I put the peeler down. Why would you say that? Because it's easier. She shrugged. He feels guilty about this kind of thing. You know how he is. She walked out before I could answer. I found the printed confirmation email in the trash later that night, after Vanessa's phone call. Someone had crumpled it up and thrown it away, probably Daniel. I pulled it out and smoothed it flat on the counter. At the bottom of the page, someone had written in pen, "Family table for 6. Then they'd crossed out the 6 and written 5. I stared at it for a long time. Then I went downstairs to my room in the basement. My room is small. It used to be storage. There's a narrow bed with a metal frame, a dresser Daniel pulled out of the garage, and a mirror that's cracked in one corner. The ceiling is low, and the one window sits at ground level, so all I ever see is the bottom half of the fence and a strip of grass. I sat on the bed and pulled out the blue notebook I've kept since Daniel was born. I started it in 1982, right after he came home from the hospital. I wanted to keep track of everything. What I spent, what I saved, what I sacrificed. I'm not sure why. Maybe I thought one day it would matter. I flipped through the pages. July 1989. New school shoes, $42. Took extra shift at hospital to cover it. November 1995. Daniel's braces, first payment, $220. Skipped my dentist appointment, can't afford both. April 2003. ASAT prep course, $890. Sold my mother's wedding ring. September 2016. Daniel's wedding, $18,000. Cashed out retirement savings early, paid penalty. I added it up once, 3 years ago, when I couldn't sleep. The total came to $127,000. $127,000. And I'd never asked for a cent back. I closed the notebook and put it back in the drawer. Then I pulled my suitcase out from under the bed. It took me 40 minutes to pack. I didn't take much. Clothes, toiletries, the blue notebook. A photo of Daniel when he was 7, gap-toothed and grinning, holding a fish we'd caught at Hag Lake. I left the photo of his wedding on the dresser. When I was done, I sat on the bed and waited. Upstairs, the house was silent. At 11:45, I heard the front door open. Voices, laughter. I waited until I heard footsteps going upstairs. Daniel and Vanessa heading to their bedroom. Then I stood up, picked up my suitcase, and carried it quietly up the basement stairs. I left it by the front door. Then I went into the kitchen. I'd been thinking about what to do for 3 hours. Ever since Vanessa's phone call. Ever since I hung up and stood there in the dark kitchen holding a plate of reheated chicken, feeling something cold and final settle in my chest. I pulled open the drawer next to the stove, the junk drawer where Vanessa kept bills, receipts, takeout menus. I found what I was looking for at the bottom. A stack of unopened envelopes, letters from the mortgage company, the electric company, the water company. I'd been signing checks for these bills for the past 4 years. My checks, my money. Daniel had asked me to help out after I moved in, and I'd said yes because I didn't want to be a burden. I'd paid $43,000 in bills since 2019. I took the envelopes and put them in a neat stack on the kitchen counter. Then I pulled out a piece of paper and wrote a note in careful block letters. I've paid enough. The bills are yours now. Don't call me. I signed it, folded it, and placed it on top of the stack. Then I went to the front door, picked up my suitcase, and walked out. I didn't have a plan. I got in my car, a 2007 Toyota Camry with a dent in the bumper and 140,000 miles on it, and I drove. I ended up at a Motel 6 off Highway 26, 20 minutes outside Portland. It cost $68 for the night. I paid cash. The room smelled like bleach and old carpet. I sat on the bed and turned on my phone. 15 missed calls. 12 from Daniel. 3 from Vanessa. I turned the phone off and went to sleep. I woke up at 6 in the morning to someone pounding on the motel room door. For a second, I didn't know where I was. The room was dark, the curtains pulled tight, and the air smelled like disinfectant and stale cigarette smoke even though it was supposed to be non-smoking. Then I remembered. The suitcase on the floor, the note on the kitchen counter, the 15 missed calls. The pounding came again, harder this time. "Mom? Mom, are you in there?" Daniel. I sat up and looked at the door. The chain lock was on, the deadbolt too. "Mom, please, I know you're in there. Your car's outside." I didn't move. "Mom, we need to talk. Vanessa's losing her mind. Just open the door, okay?" I got out of bed, walked to the door, and stood there with my hand on the chain lock. I could see Daniel's shadow under the door, shifting back and forth. "How did you find me?" I said. "I tracked your phone." Of course he did. He'd set up the Find My iPhone thing 2 years ago. After I got lost driving back from the grocery store and called him crying because I couldn't figure out which exit to take. He said it was for emergencies. I guess this counted. "Mom, please." I unlocked the chain and opened the door. Daniel looked terrible. His hair was sticking up on one side. His eyes were red, and he was wearing sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt. He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. "What the hell, Mom? Don't swear at me. You just left. You didn't say anything. He ran a hand through his hair. "Vanessa woke up at 2 in the morning and saw your note. She's been crying for 4 hours. "Good," I said. He blinked. "What?" I said good. Let her cry. "Mom, you want to know why I left? You really want to know?" I stepped back and gestured at the motel room. "This cost me $68. That's what I can afford now, Daniel. $68 for a room that smells like bleach and has bloodstains on the carpet. You know why? Because I've been paying your bills for 4 years. That's not fair. $43,000. I wrote it down. Every check. Every month. Electric, water, internet, garbage. I paid for all of it while you and Vanessa bought new furniture and went out to dinner 3 times a week." Daniel opened his mouth, then closed it. "And last night," I said, "your wife spent $1,800 on steak and lobster for everyone except me. Then she called and told me to heat up leftovers and make bone soup. 'Don't waste anything,' she said. Like I'm the maid." "She didn't mean it like that." "Yes, she did." We stood there staring at each other. A car drove past outside, headlights sweeping across the window. "Look," Daniel said finally. "I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry about the dinner. Vanessa thought you wouldn't want to go. She thought you'd be uncomfortable. She didn't think anything. She didn't want me there." "That's not true." "Then why did she lie to you? She told you to tell people I wasn't feeling well. She told me to say that if you asked." Daniel looked at the floor. "I found the email," I said. "The reservation. Party of 6. Then someone crossed out the 6 and wrote 5. Was that you?" He didn't answer. "Was it you, Daniel?" "It was Vanessa," he said quietly. I nodded. "Right." He followed me inside and sat on the edge of the bed while I made instant coffee with the little machine on the dresser. The coffee tasted like burnt water, but I drank it anyway. "What do you want me to do?" Daniel said. "Nothing." "Mom, come on. I'm serious, I don't want anything from you. I'm done." "You can't just be done. You live with us." "Not anymore." He stared at me. "Where are you going to go?" "I'll figure it out." "With what money?" I didn't answer. The truth was I had $4,200 in my checking account and another $8,000 in savings. That was it. My Social Security was $1,100 a month. I'd been using most of it to pay Daniel's bills. "This is insane," Daniel said. He stood up and started pacing. "You can't just leave. What am I supposed to tell Vanessa?" "Tell her whatever you want. She's going to freak out. The bills. Mom, we can't afford the bills without you." I looked at him. That's not my problem anymore. Yes, it is. You live in our house. Your house, I said. You made that very clear last night. He left 20 minutes later. I didn't walk him out. I sat on the bed and listened to his car start, listened to him drive away, and then I lay back down and stared at the ceiling. My phone buzzed. I'd turned it back on after Daniel left, and now the messages were coming in. 3 texts from Vanessa. Maggie, this is ridiculous. Come home. You're being childish. Fine. Stay gone. See if I care. 1 text from Linda, my sister. Daniel called me. What's going on? Call me. I deleted Vanessa's messages and stared at Linda's. Linda, 55 years old, divorced twice, currently living in Tacoma with her 3rd husband, a man named Gary who sold RVs and had a drinking problem. Linda, who borrowed $5,000 from me in 2019 and never paid it back. Linda, who told me at Daniel's wedding that I looked tired and maybe I should try harder with my appearance. I called her. She picked up on the 2nd ring. Maggie? Jesus, what's going on? Daniel said you ran away. I didn't run away. I left. What's the difference? The difference is I'm 68 years old, Linda. I don't run. She sighed. Okay, so you left. Why? I told her. The dinner. The phone call. The leftovers and the bone soup. The bills I'd been paying. All of it. When I finished, there was a long silence. Well, Linda said finally, I mean, you do live there rent-free. I closed my eyes. What? I'm just saying. You've been living with Daniel for 4 years. That's a lot of money he's saving you. Maybe Vanessa feels like you owe them. I've paid $43,000 in bills, Linda. Okay, but that's your choice. Nobody forced you. I hung up. At noon, Vanessa called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Maggie. Her voice was cold. We need to talk. I don't think we do. You left a mess. The bills. Do you have any idea what you've done? The electric company called this morning. We're 3 months behind. Then pay it. With what money? I don't know, Vanessa. Maybe some of that $120,000 you inherited. Silence. That money, she said slowly, is for our future. For the kids' college, for investments. It's not for bills. Right, it's for steak dinners. You're being petty. I'm being honest. You know what? Her voice went sharp. Maybe it's better this way. Maybe we all need some space. You've been difficult lately. Difficult. Yes, difficult. You're always in the way, always hovering. The kids don't even want to be around you anymore. Emma told me last week that you smell like old people medicine. Something cold settled in my chest. She said that? She's 13. She's honest. I didn't say anything. Look, Vanessa said, if you want to come back, fine. But things are going to change. You'll pay rent, $500 a month, and you'll stay out of our business. No more guilt trips. No more passive-aggressive comments. Got it? I stared at the water-stained ceiling. Maggie, are you listening? I'm listening. So, are you coming back or not? No, I said. I hung up before she could respond. I stayed at the Motel 6 for 3 more days. On the morning of the 4th day, a Tuesday, the manager knocked on my door and told me I needed to check out by 11. I'd already paid for the extra nights, $68 each, plus tax, but he said they had a policy. Maximum 4 nights for single occupancy. Something about insurance. I packed my suitcase and drove to a Denny's 2 miles down the road. I sat in a booth by the window and ordered coffee and toast. The coffee was weak and the toast was cold, but I ate it anyway. Outside, rain hammered the parking lot. October in Portland. Gray sky, gray rain. Gray everything. My phone sat on the table in front of me, face down. I hadn't checked it since yesterday. There were probably more messages, more calls. I didn't want to see them. The waitress came by and refilled my coffee. "You okay, hun?" I looked up. She was maybe 50, bleached blonde hair pulled back in a ponytail, tired eyes. "I'm fine," I said. She didn't look convinced, but she nodded and walked away. I wasn't fine. I thought about Daniel. Not the Daniel who showed up at the motel room, the one who looked at me like I was being unreasonable. The other Daniel. The one I raised. The Daniel who was 6 years old and got pneumonia so bad I had to take him to the ER at 2 a.m. They kept him for 5 days. I slept in a chair next to his bed the whole time because he cried every time I tried to leave. The Daniel who was 12 and wrote me a card for Mother's Day. He'd drawn a picture of the two of us holding hands, and inside he wrote, "You're my hero, Mom. I love you forever." I still had that card. It was in the blue notebook, tucked between the pages where I'd written down the cost of his braces. The Daniel who was 17 and got into a car accident. He wasn't hurt, but the car was totaled. He called me sobbing, terrified I'd be angry. I drove out to where he was and held him while he cried. And I told him it didn't matter. Cars could be replaced. He couldn't. Where did that Daniel go? At 1:30, I got back in the car and drove. I didn't have a destination. I just drove. Through Northeast Portland, past the neighborhoods I used to know when Daniel was small. The elementary school where he learned to read. The park where I used to push him on the swings. The library where we went every Saturday to check out books because I couldn't afford to buy them. I ended up at the house. Not Daniel's house. My house. The house I sold in 2005 after my husband died. It was a small place in the Roseway neighborhood. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a backyard with a maple tree that turned red every fall. I bought it in 1983 with the life insurance money from my father's death. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I sold it for $140,000. I used $18,000 to pay off the mortgage. The rest went into savings. That savings paid for Daniel's college, his apartment when he graduated, his car when the old one broke down, the down payment on his house. By 2019, the savings was gone. I sat in the car across the street and looked at the house. Someone had painted it blue. There was a swing set in the backyard now, and a trampoline. A family lived there. Happy, probably. I wondered if they knew a woman had cried in every room of that house after her husband died. If they knew she'd sold it to give her son a better life. Probably not. I drove to a storage facility on 82nd Avenue and rented the smallest unit they had, 10 by 10 feet. It cost $89 a month. I didn't have much to store. Just a few boxes I'd kept in Daniel's basement. Old photo albums, Christmas ornaments, a quilt my mother made before she died. The boxes had been sitting in the corner of the basement for 4 years, untouched. I'd asked Daniel once if I could put them in the garage and he'd said there wasn't room. Vanessa's yoga equipment was in there, and the kids' bikes, and the lawnmower, so the boxes stayed in the basement, gathering dust. I moved them into the storage unit one by one. It took 40 minutes. When I was done, I sat on the concrete floor and opened the box with the photo albums. The first album was from 1982, pictures of Daniel as a baby. Me holding him in the hospital, exhausted and smiling. My husband, Mark, asleep in the chair next to the bed. Daniel's first Christmas, his first birthday, his first steps. I turned the pages slowly. There was a picture of Daniel at 3 years old, sitting on the kitchen counter in our old house. He was covered in flour, grinning at the camera. We'd been making cookies. He wanted to help, so I let him pour the flour into the bowl. He dumped the whole bag, flour everywhere, on the counter, on the floor, in his hair. Mark took the picture while I tried to clean up. I was laughing in the photo. So was Daniel. I couldn't remember the last time I'd laughed like that. I found the blue notebook at the bottom of the box. I'd put it there when I moved into Daniel's house. I didn't want Vanessa to see it. I didn't want her to know how much I'd spent, how much I'd given up. I opened it and flipped through the pages. August 1987, school supplies, $63. Worked double shift to cover it. December 1992, winter coat for Daniel, $127. Skipped buying one for myself. Still wearing the one from 1985. March 1998, field trip to Washington, D.C., $450. Sold my wedding ring to pay for it. Mark would understand. June 2000, graduation present, $800. New laptop for college. Borrowed from Linda, never got it back. September 2003, first semester tuition, $4,200. Took loan from retirement account. Will pay it back later. I never paid it back. April 2008, baby shower for Daniel and Vanessa, won $200. Rented hall, bought decorations, paid for food. They said they'd reimburse me. They didn't. November 2016, wedding, $18,000. Emptied retirement savings, paid early withdrawal penalty, $2,700. Worth it to see Daniel happy. I closed the notebook and sat there on the cold concrete floor, staring at nothing. $127,000. Gone. And for what? That night I checked into a different motel. This one was off Highway 217, near Beaverton. It cost $74 a night. I paid for 2 nights and told myself I'd figure out something more permanent by Thursday. I turned on my phone. 23 missed calls now, most from Daniel. A few from Vanessa. 2 from Linda. 1 voicemail from Tyler. I almost deleted it, but something made me listen. "Hey, Grandma." His voice was flat, like he was reading from a script. "Mom wanted me to call and say we miss you, and, we hope you come home soon. Okay, bye." I listened to it 3 times. He didn't miss me. He probably didn't even know I was gone. Vanessa made him call. I deleted the voicemail. There was a text from Daniel. "Mom, please, we need to talk. This is getting out of hand." Out of hand. Like I was the problem. Like I was the one who'd excluded him from a family dinner and then ordered him to make soup from trash. I turned the phone off and lay down on the bed. The room was silent except for the hum of the mini fridge in the corner and the sound of someone's TV through the wall. A game show. Canned laughter. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep. I couldn't. At 2 a.m, I got up and sat at the little table by the window. I pulled out the notebook and a pen and I started writing. Not about money this time, about memories. Daniel at 6, holding my hand in the hospital. Daniel at 12, writing me that card. Daniel at 17, crying in my arms after the accident. Daniel at 25, asking me to co-sign his mortgage because his credit wasn't good enough. I'd said yes. Of course I'd said yes. Daniel at 38, avoiding my eyes when Vanessa told me I smelled like old people medicine. I put the pen down. My chest hurt. Not physical pain. Something deeper. Something that felt like it was breaking open. I thought about calling him, telling him I'd come back, that I'd pay the rent, that I'd stay out of the way. Then I thought about the note on the kitchen counter, the stack of bills, the $43,000 I'd paid without asking for anything in return. I picked up my phone. I didn't call Daniel. I called the number on the business card the storage facility manager had given me. The one that said Herschel and Associates, Estate Planning and Family Law. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. "You've reached Patricia Herschel. Please leave a message." I waited for the beep. "My name is Margaret Kaufman," I said. "I need to talk to someone about a trust and about protecting my assets from my family. Please call me back." I left my number and hung up. Then I turned off the phone, lay back down, and finally fell asleep. Patricia Herschel called back at 9:15 Wednesday morning. I was sitting in the motel room, drinking instant coffee and staring at a real estate website on my phone. Studio apartments in Portland. The cheapest one I could find was $950 a month, and it was in a neighborhood I didn't recognize. The photos showed a room the size of a closet with a hot plate and a bathroom that looked like it hadn't been cleaned since 1987. When the phone rang, I almost dropped it. "Ms. Kaufman, This is Patricia Herschel. I got your message. Her voice was crisp, professional, the kind of voice that didn't waste time. Thank you for calling back, I said. You mentioned something about a trust and protecting assets from family members. Can you tell me more about your situation? I told her. All of it. The dinner. The bills. The $127,000 I'd spent on Daniel over the years. The $43,000 in utilities I'd paid for over 4 years. The house I'd helped buy with a $22,000 down payment. When I finished, there was a pause. Ms. Kaufman, she said, do you have any of this documented? Receipts? Bank statements? Canceled checks? I have everything. I keep records. Good. Can you come to my office this afternoon? Say, 2 o'clock? Yes. Bring everything you have, every scrap of paper. We'll go through it together. She gave me the address. Downtown Portland, near the river. I wrote it down on the back of a receipt from Denny's. Her office was on the 4th floor of a building that smelled like old wood and expensive cologne. The waiting area had leather chairs and a coffee table stacked with magazines nobody reads. Forbes, Architectural Digest, Wine Spectator. I sat with my purse in my lap and my folder of documents in a canvas bag at my feet. I'd printed everything that morning at a FedEx office. Bank statements going back to 2019, copies of checks, the mortgage paperwork from 2015 with my name on it as a co-signer, the blue notebook with every expense written out by hand. The receptionist called my name at 2 o'clock exactly. Patricia Herschel was younger than I expected. Maybe 45, short dark hair, no-nonsense glasses, a navy suit that probably cost more than my car. She shook my hand and gestured to a chair across from her desk. Let's see what you've got, she said. I handed her the folder. She went through it slowly, page by page, making notes on a yellow legal pad. She didn't say anything for 10 minutes, just read and wrote. Finally, she looked up. This is a lot of money, Ms. Kaufman. I know. And you never asked for any of it back? No, he's my son. She nodded. Okay, here's the situation. The money you gave him, the wedding, the college. The down payment, that's gone. Legally, those were gifts. You can't get them back unless you had a written agreement, which you didn't. My stomach sank. But, she continued, the bills you paid are a different story. You've been living in the house, so a judge might consider that rent. But $43,000 over 4 years? That's about $900 a month. For a basement room with no private bathroom? That's not reasonable rent. That's exploitation. So I can get it back? Maybe, if you want to sue. But litigation is expensive and slow, and there's no guarantee you'd win. Honestly? She leaned back in her chair. I don't think that's your best move. Then what is? She tapped her pen on the legal pad. You said you co-signed the mortgage in 2015. Is your name still on the deed? I don't know. We'll find out. If it is, you have leverage. You can force a sale or demand they refinance to remove your name. Either way, they'll have to deal with you. I stared at her. They can't refinance without my permission? Not if your name is on the mortgage. And given what you've told me about their financial situation, I doubt they can afford to buy you out. Something cold and sharp settled in my chest. What else? I said. You mentioned utilities. Are the accounts in your name? Some of them. The electric and water, I think. Cancel them, or transfer them to your son's name. Stop paying. Just like that? Just like that. You don't live there anymore. It's not your responsibility. I thought about Vanessa's voice on the phone. You're being petty. What about my things? I said. I left some boxes in the basement. Get them out, soon. If you have a key, go when they're not home. If you don't, bring someone with you. A friend. A police officer if you have to. I don't have friends, I said. She looked at me for a long moment. Then hire someone. A moving company. I can give you a name. But get your things out, Ms. Kaufman. Once you start this, they're going to be angry. You don't want them holding your belongings hostage. I left her office at 3:30 with a list of things to do. Check the mortgage paperwork to confirm my name was on the deed. Cancel or transfer the utility accounts. Retrieve my belongings from the basement. Open a new bank account at a different bank. Change my mailing address. Patricia had also given me the name of a moving company. 2 guys with a truck. $150 for 2 hours. I called them from the parking lot and scheduled them for Friday morning at 10. Then I called the electric company. The woman on the phone was polite and bored. She asked for my account number. I gave it to her. "And what can I help you with today?" "I want to transfer the account to a different name." "Okay. Who will the new account holder be?" "Daniel Kaufman." I spelled it out. "And your relationship to Mr. Kaufman?" "He's my son." "All right. I'll need his social security number to process the transfer." I didn't have his social security number. "Can I just cancel the account instead?" I said. "Sure, but there'll be a final bill. And if there's a balance, it'll go to collections if it's not paid within 30 days. "That's fine." "Okay. I'm showing a balance of $743. Will you be paying that today?" I closed my eyes. "No," I said. "Send the bill to the service address." "You got it. Your account will be disconnected within 48 hours. I hung up. Then I called the water company and did the same thing. Balance, $200. Send the bill to the service address. That night, I checked into a different motel. This one was off Interstate 5, near Wilsonville. It was farther from Daniel's house, but I didn't care. I needed distance. I sat on the bed and opened my laptop, a 6-year-old DIL that took 5 minutes to boot up. I logged into my bank account and stared at the balance. $11,340. That's what was left after paying for the motels and the storage unit and Patricia Herschel's retainer. She'd charged me $800 for the consultation and the initial paperwork. She said it was a discounted rate. I opened a new tab and searched for apartments. Studio, under $1,000. Pet-friendly, even though I didn't have a pet. I just liked knowing I could get one if I wanted to. I found a place in Milwaukee, $975 a month, available November 1st. It was small, 400 square feet, but it had a full kitchen and a bathroom with a tub. The photos showed laminate floors and white walls. Generic, but clean. I filled out the application and paid the $50 fee. Then I closed the laptop and lay down. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Mom, the electric company called. They said you canceled the account. What the hell is going on?" I didn't answer. Another text, 2 minutes later. "You can't just do this. We have kids living here." I turned the phone face down on the nightstand. The karma started Thursday afternoon. I was at a Starbucks, drinking coffee and killing time before I had to check out of the motel, when my phone rang. Daniel. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "What?" Tyler broke his phone. Daniel's voice was tight, stressed. "Okay." He dropped it in the driveway, ran over it with his bike. The screen's completely shattered. It's not even turning on. I waited. "We need to get him a new one, but Vanessa's saying we can't afford it right now. She's freaking out about the electric bill and the water bill and—" He stopped. "Did you really cancel the utilities?" "Yes." "Why would you do that?" "Because they're not my bills anymore." "Mom, we can't afford this right now." "Then Vanessa can use some of her inheritance. That money's not for bills." "Right, it's for steak dinners." He was quiet for a moment. "Tyler's phone cost $1,200, he said. "We're going to have to put it on a credit card." "That's not my problem." Jesus Christ. "Mom, don't swear at me." He hung up. I sat there staring at my coffee. Tyler's phone, $1,200. The same amount I'd spent on Daniel's car insurance last year when he asked me to help out because Vanessa had maxed out their credit cards buying furniture. I didn't feel bad. Friday morning, the movers showed up at Daniel's house at 10 o'clock. I'd called Daniel the night before and told him I was coming to get my things. He said he'd be at work. Vanessa would be home, but she'd stay out of the way. She didn't. When I pulled up, she was standing in the driveway with her arms crossed. She was wearing yoga pants and an oversized sweater. Her hair was in a messy bun. She looked tired. The movers pulled up behind me in a white truck with the company name on the side. 2 guys in their 20s, one tall, one short, both wearing gloves. I got out of the car. "Maggie," Vanessa said, "I'm just here for my things. This is ridiculous, you know that, right?" I walked past her toward the front door. "You're tearing this family apart," she called after me. I stopped and turned around. "I'm not tearing anything apart. I'm leaving. There's a difference. Daniel's a mess. He barely slept last night. The kids are confused. Tyler keeps asking where you are. Tyler doesn't care where I am. You made him call me and leave a voicemail." She blinked. "What?" I heard it. He was reading from a script. You told him what to say. Her face flushed. "Get your stuff and leave," she said. "That's the plan." It took an hour to load everything. The boxes from the basement, my clothes, the few pieces of furniture I'd brought with me when I moved in, an old dresser, a reading chair, a lamp. Vanessa stayed inside the whole time. I saw her once, standing in the kitchen window, watching. She didn't come out. When the truck was loaded, I walked back inside to do a final check. The basement was empty except for the bed frame and the cracked mirror. I stood there for a moment, looking around. 4 years. 4 years in a room that smelled like mold and laundry detergent. 4 years sleeping on a mattress that hurt my back. 4 years listening to footsteps above me and voices that didn't include me. I turned off the light and walked upstairs. Vanessa was standing in the kitchen. "I hope you're happy," she said. I looked at her. "I'm not happy, but I'm done." I walked out and didn't look back. Capítulo 5. Foco. Confronto emotional devastador. Daniel descobre a verdade. Colapso e arrependimento. Daniel showed up at the storage unit on Saturday afternoon. I was there organizing boxes, trying to figure out what I'd need for the apartment and what could stay in storage. I'd gotten the approval email that morning. The apartment in Milwaukee was mine starting November 1st, 5 days away. I heard his car pull up outside. I knew it was him before I even looked. The engine sound, the way he parked, too close to the curb. He appeared in the doorway of the storage unit, breathing hard like he'd been running. "We need to talk," he said. I didn't look up. I was folding a blanket, one my mother had made, navy blue with white stars. "There's nothing to talk about." "Yes, there is." He stepped inside. The unit was small, and suddenly it felt smaller. "I found your notebook." I stopped folding. "What notebook?" "The blue one, with all the numbers, all the money you spent." His voice cracked. $127,000, Mom. You wrote it all down." I put the blanket in a box and turned to face him. "Where did you find it?" "In the basement, in one of the boxes. I was looking for... It doesn't matter. I found it." He looked terrible, worse than he had at the motel. His eyes were bloodshot. He hadn't shaved. His hands were shaking. "I didn't know," he said. "I swear to God, I didn't know it was that much." "Yes, you did?" "No, I knew you helped. I knew you paid for things. But I didn't know..." He ran a hand through his hair. $127,000. $170,000 if you count the bills I paid for 4 years. He stared at me. "Jesus. Don't swear." "Mom." I kept track of everything. Daniel. Every dollar. Every sacrifice. I sold my house for you. I sold my mother's ring. I cashed out my retirement. I worked double shifts when you were a kid because I couldn't afford daycare. I did everything for you." "I know." "Do you?" "Because it doesn't feel like you know. It feels like you forgot." His face crumpled. "I'm sorry," he said. His voice was barely a whisper. I'm so sorry. I turned back to the box and kept packing. Sorry doesn't pay the bills, Daniel. He didn't leave. He sat down on the concrete floor, his back against the metal wall of the storage unit, and he cried. Not the quiet kind of crying. The loud, ugly kind. The kind that comes from somewhere deep and desperate. I kept packing. I didn't know what else to do. After a while, he wiped his face with the sleeve of his jacket and looked up at me. I read the whole thing, he said. Every page. I saw the entry about my wedding. $18,000. You emptied your retirement account. I wanted you to be happy. I saw the one about college, and the car, and the down payment on the house. He shook his head. You gave me everything. Yes. And His voice broke again. I let Vanessa treat you like garbage. I didn't say anything. She told me you wouldn't want to come to the dinner. She said you'd complain about the prices. And I believed her. I didn't even think about it. I let her exclude you. Yes, you did. And then she called you and told you to make bone soup. Like you're the maid, I said. He nodded. I didn't know she did that. I swear. I was at the restaurant. I didn't hear the call. But you knew I wasn't invited. Yeah. He looked at the floor. Yeah, I knew. We sat in silence for a long time. I finished packing the box and taped it shut. Then I started on another one. I confronted her, Daniel said finally. Last night, after I found the notebook. I stopped packing. What did you say? I asked her why she treated you like that. Why she excluded you from the dinner. Why she made you pay all those bills. He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. She said it wasn't her problem. She said you chose to give me money. Nobody forced you. That sounded like Vanessa. What did you say? I told her she was wrong. I told her you didn't choose anything. You did it because you love me. Because you're my mom. And she... He stopped. She said I was being manipulated. She said you were guilt-tripping me. Maybe I am. No. He looked up at me, his eyes red and swollen. No, you're not. You're telling the truth. And I've been ignoring it for years. I sat down on the floor across from him. My knees ached. I was getting too old to sit on concrete. Why didn't you stand up for me? I said. I don't know. That's not an answer. He was quiet for a moment. I was scared, he said finally. Vanessa, she's not easy. If I disagree with her, she shuts down. She won't talk to me for days. And the kids, she turns them against me. She tells them I'm weak, that I don't care about the family. So you let her turn them against me instead. Yeah. He wiped his eyes again. I did, and I hate myself for it. He told me everything, about the fights, about the money, about how Vanessa had maxed out 3 credit cards in the last 2 years buying things they didn't need. Furniture, clothes, a Peloton bike she used twice. About how she'd refused to get a job after Emma was born, even though they needed the income. She said she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But she spent most of her time on Instagram, posting pictures of the kids and their house and her life. About how she'd started talking about getting rid of me 6 months ago. Not in those words exactly. But she'd been researching assisted living facilities, leaving brochures around the house, dropping hints. She wants the basement, Daniel said. She wants to turn it into a home gym. I thought about my room in the basement, the narrow bed, the cracked mirror, the window at ground level. She can have it, I said. Mom, I'm serious. I don't want to come back. I'm done, Daniel. I know. I don't blame you. He looked at me. But I need to fix this. You can't fix it. I can try. He stayed for another hour. We didn't talk much. He helped me organize boxes. We packed in silence, the way we used to when he was a kid, and I'd make him clean his room. At one point, he found the photo album, the one from 1982. He opened it and stared at the first picture. Him as a baby. Me holding him in the hospital. "I forgot how young you were," he said. 26. "You look scared." I was terrified. He turned the pages slowly. The pictures of him as a toddler. The one covered in flour. The one from his first day of kindergarten. He stopped at the picture of the two of us at Hag Lake, him holding a fish, me standing next to him, smiling. "I remember this," he said. "We went camping. Just the two of us. Your dad was working, double shift at the plant. You taught me how to fish. You caught that bass on your third try. I was so proud." He stared at the photo for a long time. "I miss this," he said. "I miss us." "Me too." When he left, he hugged me. It was awkward at first. I didn't know where to put my arms. But then I hugged him back, and for a moment, he felt like my son again. Not the man who'd let his wife humiliate me. Just Daniel. My Daniel. "I'm going to make this right," he said. "How?" "I don't know yet, but I will." He got in his car and drove away. I stood there in the parking lot watching him go. That night, I got a text from Vanessa. "Daniel told me about your little conversation. You're pathetic. Trying to turn him against me." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I blocked her number. Another text came in, this time from Linda. "Vanessa called me. She said you're poisoning Daniel's mind. What's wrong with you, Maggie?" I blocked her too. Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. Sunday morning, I woke up to someone knocking on the motel room door. It was Daniel again. He looked worse than yesterday, like he hadn't slept at all. "I need to show you something," he said. He handed me a folder. Inside were papers, legal documents. "I went to see a lawyer yesterday, after I left the storage unit." He took a breath. "I'm divorcing Vanessa." I stared at him. "Daniel, I can't do this anymore. Mom, I can't be married to someone who treats you like that. Who treats anyone like that." He ran a hand over his face. "It's going to be bad. She's going to fight me. She's going to try to take everything. But I don't care. I'm done. What about the kids? I'll get custody. Or joint, at least. I'm not letting her poison them against me. Or you." I didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry," he said again. "For everything. I know sorry isn't enough. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life making it up to you." I looked at the papers in my hands. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do." I moved into the apartment in Milwaukee on November 1st. It was small, but it was mine. 400 square feet, laminate floors, white walls, a kitchen with a 2-burner stove and a refrigerator that hummed too loud. A bathroom with a tub. I unpacked slowly, hung pictures, put books on the shelves, made the bed with sheets I'd bought at Target, new ones. Pale blue, soft. For the first time in 4 years, I slept through the night. The divorce was ugly. Vanessa hired a lawyer, an expensive one. She demanded the house, full custody of the kids, and half of Daniel's retirement account. Daniel's lawyer, a woman named Michelle Ortega, who Patricia Herschel had recommended, filed a counterclaim. She included copies of the utility bills I'd paid, copies of the checks, the blue notebook with every dollar documented, and the mortgage paperwork from 2015. My name was still on it. Michelle explained it to me on the phone. "If you want the house sold, we can force it. Or Daniel can buy out your share. But Vanessa doesn't have a claim to it. She never paid a dime toward the down payment." "What does Daniel want?" I asked. "He wants to keep it. For the kids. But he can't afford to buy you out right now." "Then let him pay me back slowly. $100 a month. Whatever he can afford." "Are you sure?" "I'm sure." I didn't want the house. I wanted Daniel to have a chance. Vanessa tried to turn the kids against him. Tyler, 16 and angry, refused to see Daniel for 3 weeks. He stayed with Vanessa at her sister Claire's house and wouldn't return calls. But Emma came. She showed up at my apartment on a Saturday afternoon in late November. Daniel brought her. She stood in the doorway, small and nervous, holding a piece of paper. "Hi, Grandma," she said. "Hi, sweetheart." She handed me the paper. It was a drawing, a house with a tree and two stick figures holding hands, one tall, one short. "That's us," she said. "I'm sorry I said you smelled bad. Mom made me say it." I knelt down and hugged her. "It's okay," I said. "I forgive you." The karma came in waves. Vanessa's $120,000 inheritance? Gone by January. She'd spent it on the lawyer, on rent for a new apartment, on trying to maintain the lifestyle she couldn't afford. She tried to get a job, but nobody wanted to hire a 40-year-old woman whose only work experience was influencer. She started a GoFundMe. Single mom fighting for justice. It raised $340. Tyler's iPhone stayed broken for 2 months. Vanessa couldn't afford a new one. When he finally got a replacement, it was a refurbished iPhone 8. He was furious. The house, Daniel kept it, but barely. He refinanced, took out a second mortgage. He worked overtime every week. It was hard, but he managed. And Vanessa? She ended up in a 1-bedroom apartment in Gresham. No gym, no Peloton, no Instagram perfect life. I didn't gloat, but I didn't feel bad either. Daniel visited every Sunday. We'd have coffee. Sometimes Emma came too. We'd talk about small things, work, school, the weather. He never asked me to come back. He knew better. But one Sunday in March, he brought something. The blue notebook. "I want you to have this back," he said. "I made copies. For myself, so I never forget." I took it. The cover was worn, the pages yellowed. "Thank you," I said. "No." He shook his head. "Thank you, for everything, for never giving up on me." Linda called once. It was February, late at night. I almost didn't answer. "Maggie?" Her voice was small. "I'm sorry. I was wrong about everything." "Okay. Can we talk? Maybe get coffee?" I thought about it, about all the years of borrowing money and never paying it back, about her siding with Vanessa, about her telling me I was being childish. "Maybe someday," I said, "but not now." I hung up. I wasn't ready to forgive her. Maybe I never would be. Tyler came around eventually. It took until April, but he showed up at Daniel's house one Saturday, quiet and awkward. He didn't apologize. 16-year-old boys don't apologize. But he asked Daniel, "Can we go see Grandma?" They came the next day. Tyler stood in my living room, hands in his pockets looking at the floor. "Your apartment's nice," he said. "Thank you." "I'm sorry I didn't visit before." "It's okay." He looked up. "Mom said you hated us, that you left because of me and Emma." "That's not true. I left because I needed to, but I never stopped loving you." His eyes got red. He nodded and looked away. "I'm 70 now. It's been 2 years since I left. I still live in the apartment in Milwaukee. I still see Daniel and Emma every Sunday. Tyler comes once a month, more when he feels like it. Vanessa and I don't speak. I blocked her number. She blocked mine. It's better that way. The $170,000 I spent on Daniel, I'll never get it back. Not really. But I got something else. I got my life back, my peace, my self-respect, and I got my son back. Not the way he was, but a better version. One who finally understands what I gave up for him. Last week, Emma called me. "Grandma, can I come stay with you this weekend? Just me and you?" I almost said yes immediately, but I stopped myself. "Let me think about it," I said. "Ask me again tomorrow." She called the next day. I said yes. She's coming this Saturday. We're going to make cookies, the kind Daniel and I used to make when he was small. Chocolate chip. The recipe I still know by heart. I don't know if things will ever be perfect. Probably not. Families are messy. Forgiveness is slow. but it's a start. And for the first time in years, that feels like enough.